Hey everyone, I'm Brad and today I'll be giving you a presentation on the audit I did at the University of Canberra. So just a list of what I'll be covering throughout. I'll start off with a bit of a background on where the audit took place and why I chose the area. I'll go over the results that came from the audit, and then I'll finally conclude with some recommendations I have for the health issues that arose throughout the data collection. So I chose to do the audit at the University of Canberra in the central region. This included the areas around Building 1 and 2, the concourse, the library and the immediately surrounding areas. Although I don't live on campus, I chose this area as it's one that is very familiar to me, and it's also one of the busiest areas of campus where health and walkability issues are the most likely to arise. So the audit was conducted in the winter term, but to make sure the data was a more accurate representation of the area, I chose to look at perspectives from semester 1 and 2 as well, as the area can be significantly different through those times. So like everyone, I guess, the auditing tool used was the mini toolkit developed at the UNSW Built Environment Program by Professor Susan Thompson and others. It covered 6 main areas. They included access and circulation on campus, shade protection, safety, transport, food facilities, and places to socialise. Each area was given a rating system to use with the specific question asked, usually with 3 or 4 options such as strongly disagree, disagree, agree, or strongly agree. So in terms of area and in terms of access and circulation to the area, it was extremely pleasant to walk on. The pathways were smooth and well connected. They were pretty well maintained, and there was a relaxing nature and green areas all around, which encouraged walking and spending time in this outdoor area. All of these factors have major benefits for the individual's health. However, as I mentioned, this audit took place during the winter semester, where crowds, noise, and obstruction to walking were minimal. The point of view from the middle of first or second semester also needed to be looked at. In the middle of semester, during peak times in particular, the walking room is often more limited. There are more obstructions to paths, such as stalls, live music, food stands. There's increased noise pollution and increased littering. Due to these reasons, the overcrowding can have negative effects on individual, group, or environmental health. The area of campus also did have some issues around the ease of movement, particularly for people with some sort of mobility issue, such as people in wheelchairs, people pushing prams, or elderly people. The accessibility and ease of movement is a key aspect in participation within a built environment. However, this area of campus is largely accessed via stairs, hills, and some uneven areas of land. There are ramps and elevators located in this area of campus, however they are pretty few and far between, and the use of such would increase duration and reduce ease of travel considerably. So the next area was shade protection. The importance of shade protection is well known, with the adverse health effects such as skin cancer being well documented. However, a less known issue, particularly in Australia, and more so Canberra, is vitamin D deficiency. Lack of sun exposure is more of an issue in Canberra than most places, particularly in winter, where 49% of Canberrans are deficient, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The shade protection on campus is overall very good. Most of the walking paths are covered by roofs, along with a number of the outdoor seating areas. However, there is also a number of the seating areas with decent sun exposure, such as the green areas, and a number of benches as well, which, as discussed, is also beneficial to health. In terms of safety, the overall safety of this area of campus is quite high. The area is often well populated and easy to get around without much risk to personal security. Risk to belongings can be higher in areas such as the library. However, strong warnings and regulations are put in place to prevent acts such as theft. During the evening, whilst alone, is when safety is the biggest concern, with a spate of crimes occurring on the campus in the last 6 months. There is also several bars in the area, along with an annual music festival held in the grounds, which can increase the risk of alcohol-fueled crimes. The area of campus has very little vehicle access, making the risk of vehicles to pedestrians pretty much obsolete. And the area is also quite open, with very few blind spots, making cyclist and pedestrian interaction also extremely minimal. So in terms of transport around the campus can be time-consuming. However, the added benefit of this is it gives you increased exercise. There is an abundance of cycling racks that are rarely full, even in the middle of semester. The use of public transport at the university is encouraged, as parking is pretty much impossible, particularly in peak times. And these days you also have to pay for parking, which is another negative aspect of it. This also promotes more exercise and reduces vehicle pollution. However, the ease of use of this is rather low. From many areas in Canberra, it can largely increase travel time and be a major inconvenience. And the only bus stop on campus is about a 10 to 15 minute walk from the area that I audited. So in terms of food facility on campus, there were 4 main ones that I looked at in the area that I audited, which I assessed the quality of, the price, and how healthy the food was. They were the Cafe Mizuna, the Sizzle Cafe, Zee-Holes, and the Melt Deli. So the Cafe Mizuna, the food was on the pricey side, but I guess a lot of cafes are. The quality was pretty good. There was always a lot of customers in there whenever I've gone there. And they do have some healthy options available, such as sandwiches. The Sizzle Cafe, they mainly had oriental food with limited healthy options. Pricing was reasonable. However, online there is some negative reviews for this place surrounding the food not being fresh, and some people even reported cases of food poisoning. Zee-Holes, so they obviously sell like pub food and beverages. It's pretty expensive, especially for students, with most meals being upwards of $15. This does of course increase the quality, but there are also limited healthy options here, as it's pretty much just a pub feed. The Melt Deli, this was overall probably the best one in my opinion. It was the only place that I looked at to offer fresh fruit and salads, along with healthy sandwiches, but it also did have the snack and junk food options. Pricing was also on the cheaper side for a lot of items, such as an array of beverages being cheaper. One thing that I often buy from there is the iced coffee, which costs $2.90, which is considerably cheaper than the IGA that I also buy iced coffee at down the street from where I live. So in terms of socializing, socializing also has many benefits for health of the individual and the environment. It enhances a people's sense of well-being, can reduce symptoms of mental illness, and can also promote physical activity. This part of campus ranks very high in this area. There's numerous seating, green areas, shading, and pleasant views in which to enjoy socializing. And there's also 2 bars in this area which are good for socializing at. The only issue, once again, is the quantity of areas. During peak times in the semester, these can often be overcrowded, and they can be hard to find places to socialize. So the findings from the report suggest that this area of university ranks high in most areas associated with health. The area as a whole is extremely pleasant, has top quality areas of shading, high levels of safety, with pretty decent food facilities and areas to socialize in. Most of the issues to health identified come from peak times in the areas, where overcrowding really is becoming a major issue on the campus. Lack of accessibility is also a bit of a concern. So due to this, I have several recommendations for the university. My first one is increased accessibility through the means of increased ramps, elevators, along with a major increase in parking and bus routes to and from the university. Healthier and cheaper food options available would also be good, as although it's not terrible, it is still pretty expensive for students who often don't have a hell of a lot of money. And overcrowding, which in my opinion is the biggest issue at the campus, some recommendations for that would be to put more facilities in place to deal with this, such as increased seating and socializing areas. And I guess a counter recommendation to overcrowding is to increase the entry requirements into the university, such as increasing ATAR, Year 12 certificate, or perhaps introducing more prerequisites. And yeah, just my reference list. Thank you for listening.